Hey YouTube, Jay Stevens here. Today I'm going to do an unboxing, then an installation of some new XS sights on my Glock Model 23. And I'm going to give you a history lesson, which is going to be interesting. We're going to talk about the phosphorescence of what makes things glow in the dark, give you a little side-by-side comparison to my True Glows that I had that are getting old and wearing out. Sit back, enjoy, relax, learn something, and thanks for watching. This is going on my G23. You can see that it supports the 17, 19, 22 through 24, 27, 31, 36, 38. So the smaller framed Glocks, okay? Your thicker ones like your 30 and your 29s and your 20s need more material for the bigger weights. They're going to have a different length rear sight. So I'm going to go ahead and start the assembly. And right before we do that, as you can see, I had these True Glow sights, yellow in the rear and green in the front. There's nothing wrong with these sights. Like anything, you want to experiment. And I had the green front with the yellow rears. And that's good. You don't want to be looking at, have a distraction in the rear. You want to focus on your side or your front side or your target, that type of thing. So I decided I want to switch up because I'm interested in a little faster acquisition. Grand total, $102.61. These are the express sights, so they're 24/7. There are actually 4 of these, okay? There's Big Dot Tritium Express, Standard Dot Tritium Express, 24/7 Big Dot Tritium Express, 24/7 Standard Dot Tritium Express. 24/7 means, as I showed you, they're always on or always visible because of the rear sight with the insert. Some makes and models don't have enough room in the rear sight to actually add the vertical tritium tube in there. So they ended up doing a white line. The packaging comes with everything you need, and I'm making an assumption that you're not finding my channel just discovering big dot sights for the very first time. There are so many videos for the last 6 years that cover these sights. Maybe not as much on the history, but there's the rear sight. Rear sight with the tritium Trijicon vial in there. And there's the original big dot sight. And you want to basically dot the eye. That's how these work. You want to dot the eye or create a lollipop once you're on target. Bang. That's it. It's got a tritium vial in the front, vertical tritium vial in the back, and these are called the, let's see, yeah, obviously they're made by Trijicon, that's why they're there. Got your front sight tool, removal tool, punch, Loctite thread locker, everything you need. Nothing wrong with the True Glows. I just wanted to comment and say that aesthetically, this is a little long. I've never had any holster relief issues or anything. My holsters, they always worked fine. They didn't rub. And then in the rear, this was long. There is no ledge. It's a rounded edge. So if you're doing one-handed reloads, you might find that to be a problem. Professional hunters in Africa since the 1900s hunted game that could kill them during their hunting efforts. Their guns were called express rifles, and they utilized special sights and ammo that were adapted and used for years successfully. XS big dot sights were conceived by a former Texas deputy sheriff named Ashley Emerson. He took the dangerous game guns and adapted them over to handguns by creating a big, easy, fast, visible front sight and matched it with a shallow V rear sight. It became the standard dot and later evolved into the big dot. Emerson, so the story goes, wanted a front sight when viewed from the rear that looked like it was a large floating dot just floating in space. They moved away in the early days from those beads in those hunting African guns, but they did have the V notch, so that's where that comes from, and I will try to roll in some of the pictures. Opponents of the sight system say that the front sight is too large and that it will cover too much of the target, preventing you from making a precise shot. But if you really think about it, at 10 yards, 30 feet, the big dot front sight will cover just about 2 inches of target. If you need to hit smaller than 2 inches at 30 feet, it's time to start thinking about a rifle versus your pistol. For defense handgun type shooting, you don't need precise alignment. You need fast alignment. If you can hit a 5-inch circle every time at 10 yards, you're good to go. The faster you can hit it, the better off you are. Several more things to consider. For example, fighting is not target shooting. In civilian engagements, the gun is used in close distances. More often than not, in law enforcement circles, most officers are not taught to use a handgun beyond 25-35 yards. The big dot express sights on handguns at these distances is more than accurate. You see, there's target focus. Target focus is a concept where the shooter just focuses on the target, and that's the concept behind the big dots. Most of us are trained to always focus on your front sight. Front sight focus. That's when the shooter, as I said, focuses on the front sight. All right, so I got the front and the rear on. It's not bad. You just got to do the old alignment thing, eyeball it, line it up. Try to get off the excess Loctite. In your mind, you're always wondering if you've got the things torqued down or tightened enough, type of thing. Did want to use the Loctite to kind of keep things from breaking free. You just have to go to the range and shoot it and see how it does. Tell you what I'll do. I'll show you the tritium in the bathroom, and we'll compare it to my TruGlo. I am expecting that both will be very similar. I know, don't laugh at this scientific test. The TruGlos I got on the left, and I had to turn the Glock right here on the right. So this will be the same distance. I got them evenly spaced. Let's have a look. That's very interesting. I can see the yellow and the green on the TruGlos, but on the XS big dots, they're a lot brighter. So I don't know if it's because my TruGlos are 4 or 5 years old, or if when I bought them online they were If I bought them online, they weren't as bright. But you guys saw that, didn't you? Look at that. I'm going to hold it right here and we'll do it again. Ready? Here goes. Look at that. You get the point. Cool. All right. There's a quote from a handgun training book that I picked up when I was at Walmart the other day. The author says that Dave Biggers, when he worked at Gunsight, told the author's wife during her training class, just put the big dot sight on a target and pull the trigger. She did it and it hit time after time after time. In that very same book by Richard Mann, he says they work because you don't have to look for the sights. Trijicon came out with HD sights in orange and yellow that a lot of guys really like. High visibility. A lot of people actually wish that the XS company would do something similar. Some shooters, when they get older, appreciate the actual white dot of the XS sights. I am not trying to prefer one over the other. Obviously, this is an XS sight video, but ease of installation comes into play. I've heard in a couple of the forums that guys were complaining that they were having some fitment problems with their HD sights. Just something to be aware of. Your mileage may vary. A lot of handgun manufacturers in the last few years, like Ruger, Smith & Wesson, and many others, have started to offer XS big dot sights as standard on some of their models, with more supporting various types of the XS sights. Alright, first off, disclaimer, tritium. I never really knew what it was myself, so I started doing a little research and here's what we got. It has a half-life of 12.3 years, meaning it will lose half of its brightness in that period. If you have a sight, your sight should be stamped with the install date of the sight, but there's no way to really know when the tritium itself was manufactured, which is the real time zero. And I noticed on mine that it said 2015. Dang it, I'm a year down already. All right. The half-life doesn't mean that it'll be half as bright in 12.3 years. It means that the tritium will decay by 50% every 12.3 years. The tritium isn't what glows. It's actually a phosphorescent chemical inside the vials that reacts to the tritium. Because that chemical needs a certain amount of tritium to glow, most capsules aren't just half as bright, but substantially darker or even blank by the time the half-life is reached. This is especially true if using a phosphorescent in a less visible color, like yellow and especially red, which is why sight makers generally warranty those colors for shorter periods of time. Last I knew, most companies producing a red tritium sights only promised 5 years of visibility. You know, one of the most important things that I want to mention is fast acquisition. You guys know that we do a lot of hiking. I can't imagine a dire scenario. You know, just go with me. A black bear's charging. I'm between here, you know, on the trail. It's dusk, and there's a black bear coming right at me. I need one big round dot that's visible in low light conditions. I want it white. I want it bright. I don't want a half life. I want full life. I need everything I can see. Maybe a flashlight, whatever I can do quickly to defend myself. So it is with that in mind that I try these out. I like it. It's kind of a keep it simple principle. Gosh. All right, can't wait to take this bad boy out to the range. Hopefully my parts don't go flying off. I put enough Loctite and I tighten these things down enough. It's a little difficult getting my old sights off, but man, I'm excited. Let's see what these guys do.
I hang this in the back door with a light behind it. There you go.
The sights work great, guys. This thing is on the money. Love it. All right, well, I think that's about a wrap, folks. We showed you some sights, comparison to my old sights that were several years old, gave you a little history. I'm going to give these a whirl. They should work good. You know, doing dry fire in the house, I can tell my eyes pick them up real fast. So wish me luck. Take care. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe. Until next time, have a good one.